I am offering up a friendship between you and change. Just meet each other. Change is always going to be there. It's always going to come after you in this life. So you might as well stop running and just walk beside it and hold hands with it and be like, okay, it's cool, you're here. What are we going to do about it? Let's embrace you, because then change will help you walk into successful paths. Because if you don't make friends with it, you'll run away from it and you'll probably run in an opposite direction. So you need this video. Come back to it if you're going through any sort of change. I will remind you why you need that change. Why do you just want to be in the same place forever just because, you know, it's safe? It's also boring. Welcome to Waves Unleashed, and I'm about to unleash some waves on you. Okay, so I feel like now is the perfect time for me to make this video because I'm going through change right now. Now, it might not be the biggest change, but it's still a change. Like, I've changed my space. I'm in a new room, guys. I know this is insignificant, but to me, I like to hold on to things. In my old room, I was there for like 7 years. Now, I had my room from when I moved there when I was young. I'm gonna miss it. At first, I was like, okay, like I have so many memories here. And then I started to think about it today and I was like, why am I like this with everything? Like, I don't like change. Normally, a lot of people out there would be like, oh, a new room, especially because it's a bigger room. I get more space to work, more space to do things. But for me, I was very apprehensive in the fact that I'm very sentimental. I hold on to things. And I did this at university, for example. When it came to knowing that I was going to stop being a student, I would go to the library every single day for the last few months before I knew that, you know, my time at university was over. I would go there and I would proper romanticize the process of being there. And I'd get so attached, think, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to come back here. I'm never going to be a student. I'll talk to my friends and they're like, oh my gosh, I hated being a student. I don't want to think about that time in my life. I genuinely just get attached to things, even things that I don't really care about. Like, I worked at a job last year. I did not like the job, but looking back now, it's been enough time that, like, even when I had to leave, there was a part of me, as much as I wanted to leave the job, that kind of felt a bit sentimental over the idea of leaving and change. And I feel like this is just how I am in general. I'm very much a sentimental person who gets attached to things, people, places, you know, vibes. Like, if there's a vibe, I'm like, oh, I miss that vibe, you know. I really like try to like capture it again, but you can never do the same thing twice. I've noticed that. But as much as you try, I've noticed that when I try to recreate things, it's never going to be exactly the same, not the exact vibe. But yeah, generally I've noticed that I'm very sentimental about things, so I thought this is the best time for me to make this video in order to help other people. At the end of the day, it's inevitable. Change will happen no matter if we want it to or not, but it's about how we react to it. And a lot of the time we can use this to make us successful, to make us more happy, to make us more productive, but it's the way that we go about it. I want to talk about these 6 points that I've got written down, 6 reasons as to why we need change in order to be successful and live a happy life. We need it. And I'm going to tell you guys all about it. You're not ready for this video because I don't know if I am. I wasn't even ready to move rooms. So, you know, I'm not ready for a lot of things, but we need to be ready because we're going to be successful. So the first reason why change will make us more successful and happy is the fact that it will increase our personal growth. Now, you can't argue with this. You're never going to grow in your comfort zone, as everyone says. So we need to step outside in order to feel like we are changing, growing, developing, you know, becoming a different person, exposing ourselves to new situations in order to see how we act in those situations. And that is self-discovery. You're learning more about yourself, you're understanding, and you might be able to now say, okay, how can I do things differently? But you're not going to do that in the same place. So you need to be able to change. You need to be in different environments, different situations, around different people, exposing yourself to new things in life. That's what this life is all about. It's very much to do with personal growth. So really look at the situation. There might be some big change that's going on in your life right now, and you're telling yourself, how could this happen? Or I don't want to let go. Whatever it is, a place, a person, an environment, a country, even whatever it is where you've been put in a different situation, you need to be in this new situation in order to understand more about yourself and how you can handle the situation. Now, you might find there are weaknesses about how you handle it. You might find there are strengths. If it's a weakness, it's something that you will learn from. In the future, you'll be able to do things differently. So you kind of have to be in that situation where the weakness will come to light. Maybe you're in an environment where it's very competitive and you realize that you don't do well under pressure, and you find that that's kind of a weakness for you. Now you will come away and you will try to work on how you can be better under pressure, how you will adapt to the situation. These are all things that we will use to our advantage by being in situations where we have to change. All of this is to say that change will make you more self-aware. It will make you step outside of your comfort zone. So when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone and you're looking inwards about, you know, how you're acting in the situation, this is very much to do with personal growth. So you're not going to grow inside your comfort zone. So you need to be out of it. You need to be in new situations and environments. This will make you successful. Think about all these people that are very successful, these CEOs, these people with big companies, all of them, they're able to thrive in new situations. They have to go, you know, here and there, everywhere, talking to new people, being in business meetings, going in situations which maybe a part of them might be quite introverted and they don't actually want to do, but they kind of embrace that situation. And this will make you more successful in this life by embracing the fact that you may have to do things that you don't want to do in order to become the person that you do want to become. So when we look at change, we need to really think, okay, this is going to help me grow. Okay, so I want you to adapt that mindset that you're not going to be able to grow if you stay where you are. I can apply this to a new plan that I've started where I have to do a certain amount of work every single day. I have to do stuff for my business, but I've noticed that I've made a shift in my lifestyle now. I've started doing things from a place of a bit more pressure. I'm looking at myself and I'm able to see, how am I acting in this situation? How do I work in this situation? Do I work well? Or do I need to change? This is the self-awareness part of personal growth. But then on the other hand, I'm also able to see the change is helping me. As much as it might be uncomfortable to try and push myself to get all these things ticked off, I'm growing and I'm becoming better. Really take that one in. I wanted to start with that one because I feel like that's very, very important. Anyway, let's get to the second point. So another thing about change, it will vastly improve the satisfaction and fulfillment within your life. So when you are undergoing new things, you know, for example, taking on new routines, new goals, new plans, new endeavors that you are chasing, these might all be hard and these might all involve change, moving house, changing jobs. You're going for a phase where you're unemployed and you have to, you know, constantly work, constantly apply. Me, myself, you know, I'm in this phase of being a business owner, being a nutritionist, you know, working on all these different things. And it is very go, go, go. But all of this gives me purpose. Now, this does require change. This requires me having to be adaptable. Maybe my videos don't do well. I had to change things I do. Or maybe I have to change my environment or the way that I shoot things, even if I get comfortable with how I shoot it. This is just me giving you this channel as an example, but in so many different areas of my life with the things that I go after, I always have to constantly adapt and change. And there are times where it can get to you. But you know what's worse than it being a lot is just staying still, staying stagnant. You're not going to feel like you're getting anywhere. So you're going to make progress and you're going to feel a lot more fulfillment and satisfaction within your life when you're actually working towards something. I 100% believe that when we do things, even if it seems uncomfortable, like the first point, it will develop your self-growth. It will also just give you a sense of purpose. Taking action on something that, you know, we're aspiring towards, even if it is hard and it involves a lot of change, you will see some progress along the way, and that will lead to fulfillment and satisfaction. When we're doing the same things constantly and we're in the same routine, a lot of the time we can get bored. We're not introducing any excitement into our life. Now, when change challenges you, you are now opened up to new experiences. And when you're in new experiences, as hard as they may be, as I keep saying, they're not boring. There's something different about it. It takes away from the same routine, the same mundane thing of, you know, of always everything being the same. You don't want it to be the same. We want to be challenged in this life because we learn more about ourselves. As I said, we become more self-aware, but it also brings excitement and more experience to our life, which makes things a bit more dynamic. This will create more diversity in our life, and this keeps things, you know, different, exciting, new. If everything's boring, you're not going to grow. Life has so much to offer, and even if life is hard, the most successful people are the people that embrace that. They embrace the challenges, they embrace the idea of going after new experiences, even if it is hard, even if it's a new environment and you have to change what you're seeing or your day-to-day, or maybe the people that you're around. All these people, they are able to make these kind of decisions. So you want to really take that on and just adapt that mindset that, you know what, challenge is good. The one thing I do not want for myself is to just live the same life forever and it's just boring. As much as it's comforting, we can get sentimental about things. We need change. We need time to move on. We need to see what life has to offer. Why do you just want to be in the same place forever just because, you know, it's safe? It's also boring. Do you want to just be safe and bored as well? You want to be entertained. Maybe you will be challenged, but you will be entertained. You're not going to be bored in that situation and you're getting things done. And this is how a successful person thinks. They adapt that mindset that, okay, it might be hard, but at least it's not boring. At least I'm finding purpose, like I said. The next point is that you're going to have improved creativity and inspiration within your life when you embrace change, when you open yourself up to, you know, what can I find from this? What can I gain from this experience? Let myself be more creative in this space. So for example, I'm in a new room. I'm closer to people. There were some pros in the fact that, you know, I was more away. Now I'm closer to people, but I'm going to use it to my advantage because, you know what, I have more space and I'm just going to use that. I'm going to use all the space that I have. And how can I change my perspective, see life from a different lens? For example, I'm looking outside my window. It's a different view. That already stimulates me in a different way creatively because I'm seeing something different. I'm in a different environment. I see life differently. As silly as it is, just being in a different room of your house is already a change. This is just one example. But anything, when I left university, happy. And I was there for years, and you know, that was the environment I was seeing. When I started working from home, it was very different, but I was stimulated in new ways of having to, you know, push myself to be more creative in other ways. You need to try and see the positives of it, and this is how it will happen for you. So say for example, I was in a smaller room and I didn't get the advantage of saying, okay, I'm in a bigger room. I could say, how can I see this differently? How can I draw creativity from being in a smaller room? What can I do with it? How can I make my space nicer? A fresh perspective. You're seeing things from a different view, which will lead to creativity in different ways than it was before in a different environment. Now, I don't care if you say that, oh, I'm not a creative person. Everyone's creative in their own way, whether that's at work, academically, you know, you're making social media content, you're drawing things, you're doing art, makeup, you're making videos, whatever you're doing little gaming and voiceovers, whatever you're doing, everyone has something creative. How are you doing things differently in different environments? Maybe you find that when you're in a different environment, different things come up for you for ways that you want to create. Maybe you find new hobbies in different environments because it stimulates you differently. I really believe that your space and your environment can very much bring on a fresh perspective. And this is the same with relationships as well. Sometimes we leave a relationship and we're all in a new perspective. You see life differently. You weren't seeing it that way before, and that's because it's stimulating you in a different way, because it's inspiring you in different ways. Your situation, the change, whatever it is. Now, sometimes it might not be the best inspiration, but it's what you do with it and how you embrace the change. If you embrace this change and you come out of the relationship and you're like, you know what, I'm seeing life differently, I'm going to use this to my advantage. This is where you can become a more happy and successful person, because you are embracing the change. But if you're just holding on to the past, of course you're going to be very down. Obviously, we all need to go through this process of heartbreak, but if you just hold on to it for so long, you're not embracing change, and you're not going to be inspired, and you're not going to be creative about new ways to meet people or to love yourself or to fill your days up with creativity, because you're so busy holding on to the past. Whereas if you were embracing change, you will find a fresh perspective. Another thing is, when we embrace change, we can also have more motivation. And this is because, say you left a job, for example, and it was just like so hard and you had to leave and you hated it, and you were in a space where, you know, life is changing and you don't like it. If you embrace that, you can find motivation, start a business, go and apply for loads of jobs every day, no matter how hard it is. Put yourself in those rooms, go and talk to people. You're embracing the change. Whereas the other person will be like, oh, this is so hard. Oh, I can't do it. I miss my old job. Oh, at least it was comfortable. Or maybe they wouldn't even leave the job in the first place because they don't want to embrace change. They're too scared. You need to embrace it, and then you need to kind of tap into the motivation. Now, sometimes it might not just be motivation, it'll be discipline. But once you put a bit of discipline there, the motivation will follow. Then you'll see some results, and then you'll be able to just become more motivated because you are embracing change. Now, the next point is, embracing change will improve your mental and emotional well-being. An emotion, for example, that comes up for a lot of us is fear. When you're scared of change, when you hold on to, you know, life events, life situations, people, places, things, a lot of the time we don't want to let go of it because of fear. We're scared. But if you put yourself in a situation where you say, you know what, I'm going to go for it, the anxiety will lessen over time. This will improve your emotional well-being and your mental well-being, because you are now saying, you know what, I can put myself in those situations no matter how I feel. And then you will start to expose yourself to it and you won't be as scared. A lot of the time when we hold on to things, we think that, like for myself, I think I'm being sentimental by holding on to all these things, my old room, being at uni, being a student, all these things. But this is not good for us. We're holding on to the past. And why do you want to live in the past? You need to live in the present. And the present is embracing whatever happens, whatever comes on. And what will come on, which is inevitable, is change. You cannot make that decision to say, oh, change won't happen to me. No, I'm so sorry, but change is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not. So you might as well start to embrace it and look at how you can see things differently, because this is what all the successful people in this life do. They don't just sit there and wallow in it. Oh, it's not going my way. Oh, things are changing. No, let's embrace it. Let's see what we can do with this. This will make you feel so much better. So face your fears when it comes to feeling scared of change. Do it anyway. I don't care. Do it anyway. Now, another thing relating to mental and emotional well-being when it comes to change is that it will vastly improve your confidence and your sense of accomplishment. Now, your confidence in the sense that you're embracing the change, you're putting yourself in situations where there will be change. That will improve your confidence in more change. As I said, it's inevitable for change to happen in this life. So don't you want to be more confident about your ability to deal with it? So embrace it. You may feel uncomfortable at first, but the more you break through the barrier, the better you'll feel. Another thing is the sense of accomplishment that comes with that will make you want to keep doing it, because you'll be like, oh, okay, I can do that. I know people that have moved to uni and then they go straight out the country by themselves because, you know, they already took that first step, and that's because they built up their confidence. They already know they accomplished that, so of course they could accomplish moving abroad. That's how it works. You kind of take those steps in life. I was meant to film the next part of this video, but then I got really busy yesterday, so I was like, you know what, let me just save it for the next day. And here I am. We're gonna finish these points off. Let's just act like I'm not in a different outfit. So the fifth point on how embracing change will will benefit us and make us more successful and happy is that it will improve our relationship with others. Now, for example, when we undergo change, we learn a lot about ourselves, as I said, but you also learn about other people's perspectives depending on the type of change that you're in. But just in general, when you're in a different environment, a lot of the time you're around new people, around new perspectives, different people with different ways of life, different ways that they were brought up, and this really affects the way that they communicate in the world. Now, this can affect you positively or negatively depending on how you take it on. You don't need to take on everyone's negativity, but you can learn from people. You might even learn from someone's negativity and tell yourself, I don't want to be like that. But just looking at other people, change can also help us to shift our perspective and shift the way that we see situations based on how other people might react to those situations. So someone else might, be so grateful for the life that you have, but you didn't realize it until you're in a situation where someone has less than you. You realize, oh wow, I see someone else's perspective. They're more grateful for things that literally come naturally to me. When I was volunteering at a kitchen, I realized that, the things that these people were grateful for was so much more. Like, this man was giving out cards that said, thank you for bringing beauty into my day. I still have it like literally on my wardrobe over there because it was the most beautiful thing ever. When he gave that to me, I was like, wow, like me just being here brought beauty into his day. And this was change for me. I'm not in that environment usually, even putting myself in that situation, but it was good change because I was opening myself up to other people's perspectives. It can also help us communicate better with other people. So for example, when you go into a new situation and there is change, it might even make you realize things about yourself or things about other people or even things about life that make you become a better communicator. Like, have you ever been in a bad situation? Say you had a breakup or you lost friends, but it made you realize what you want in this life and how you want to communicate with people. Or maybe we've all been in a toxic relationship in the past and you didn't have the best communication, but then going into the next relationship you have better communication. That wouldn't have happened without the change. So we need the change in order to become better at how we have relationships with people, how we communicate, how we go about life. See how this could positively impact your relationships. Or sometimes something really bad might happen in our life. We think it's the worst thing ever, but then it's actually benefiting our growth and our personality and the way we communicate with others in ways that we can't even see yet, until in the future you're like, oh wow, I don't do that anymore. Maybe for me it was because I had traumatic injuries with my stomach. I couldn't eat properly for a year. That made me change. Yes, it was bad change, but positively, it made me more empathetic. So now when someone else is unwell, I'm very empathetic. I don't think I would have been that unless I went through what I've been through. Another thing is when you're going through change in a relationship, for example, this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a friendship. It could be just people in your family, whatever, a community. When you go through change with people, it brings you closer together. But look at the pandemic. As much as it was a very bad time, we all kind of share that experience, and some people were brought closer together with their families because they had to be at home and they had to be around their family more. Other people, it was different, but that's just one example. There are so many ways that change can bring people together, especially in relationships. When you move house or you go through big life events. I know me with my stomach issues and my traumatic events with my health, my boyfriend was there for me. He was very supportive, and him going through that change with me brought us closer together. It would have taken us longer to get close like that as early on in our relationship, but it really brought us together. You support one another, and support is a very big thing in this life. It creates deeper connections. Okay, so the final point is that it will improve our adaptability and our resilience. The reason that it will make us more adaptable is because when you go through a lot of changes in your life, you become more resilient. You know how to deal with things a lot better. Anyone who's been through a lot in this life, they have more of a thicker skin. They can come back from very hard things. How many people do you know who have been through very, very hard things? Most of us have gone through very hard things. I'm sure you yourself, you've gone through something that has made you stronger in a way. Now, sometimes we can look at it like a weakness, but the fact that you came back from it in the first place is already a strength, and that's a testament to how you can come back to more things in the future. Any bad thing in this life involves change, but also any good thing in this life involves change. So now, whatever kind of change it might be, we're more able to adapt. We're more able to come back stronger. Let's be real, life is very unpredictable. Things can happen in any day, and your life could completely change. And that's not to scare you, that's almost to empower you to remember, if you embrace change, you know that you can come back anytime. You will be better equipped to deal with setbacks when you embrace change and when you understand that it's inevitable in this life, and it will make you more able to adapt to new situations. So when your life does switch up, which it will switch up at some point, even if it stays stagnant for a long time, you're better prepared. Successful people, they embrace this. They're able to be flexible and adapt, and this makes you more relevant. So in the sense that, say I wanted to be online, I need to be adaptable, I need to stay relevant, and that means that I need to be willing to change. I need to be okay with change. If you're just sitting back and complaining that things aren't like the old days, oh, why can't things be how they used to be? This is not the life that we live in. I know that we're sentimental girlies around here. You can't hold on to the past so much to the point where you aren't even keeping up with, you know, how you can be better, how you can grow your skills, how you can develop, how you can stay on top and stay relevant in the field that you want to be successful in. The reason that successful people are successful is because they're always staying relevant. They're always keeping up with change. Like for me, for example, with this YouTube channel, sometimes things change with the algorithm and how the videos that I need to be doing, the topics, I need to be constantly researching and understanding what people want to see. And that means that I need to adapt to change, embrace it, get with the times. And this is how adapting to change will make you successful. Okay, so I'm gonna end this video here because I've been yapping. I feel like I've given some really good tips in terms of why we need change, why it's important for our success, for our happiness, just for us to be able to adapt to new situations better, to feel more self-aware, to have better relationships, more self-growth, everything. So you need this video. Come back to it if you're going through any sort of change. If something happens in the next few months and you feel a big change in your life, come back to this video. I will remind you why you need that change, because me myself, I know that I'm very sentimental. I hold on to things. I don't want to let things go a lot of the time. Part of me just doesn't like change, but we need to learn to like it. We need to learn to love it. We need to learn to make it our friend. Now is an amazing time for you to subscribe. I post 2 motivational videos every single week. Self-improvement. We're all about becoming the best version of ourselves. This is why I made this channel, because I used to be a lazy babe and now I'm a productive wave. Waves unleashed. Welcome to Waves Unleashed, and I've just unleashed some waves on you.